Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be going through 5 of the weapons that the community voted as the top 5 weapons in the game. So the first 2 on this list are actually tied, so I'm going to go with personal choice here, and I'm going to say number 5 is the longsword. Now, the longsword is a two-handed weapon. Fairly nice design. It's been in the game for a long time. I think it's been in the game actually, I'm not sure if it's been in since early days. It's been in ever since I played, so I started in U10, so it's been around for a long time. Anyway, the weapon is primarily used two-handed, but can also be used as a fairly weak one-handed weapon. It's pretty good at slashing and piercing, it's really nicely balanced, so I'm going to show off its strengths now. Okay, so the longsword you want to primarily hold in two hands, and its piercing capability is actually really good. I have SORCERY installed, so he just bled to death. Okay, so let's see how this weapon performs against 2 enemies. It pretty easily knocks people down as well. And like I said, pierces incredibly well. And actually is pretty damn good at dismembering as well. As you can see, the weapon just dismembers extremely well. It's also very good as it covers a lot of your body, so it's incredibly easy to block attacks with. Anyway, that's the longsword. That's number 5. Let's move on to number 4. And at number 4 we have the warsword. This is my personal favourite, the one I voted for. And this is essentially another longsword, but can be used in one hand very effectively. And it is more of a piercing weapon than a slashing weapon. For example, it's very good at thrusting attacks, compared to the longsword, which is kind of more of a slashing weapon. Can also be used in two hands, and is incredibly effective. But I primarily like to use it in one hand. So as you can see, using the weapon one-handed is very effective. I just think it's one of the best looking weapons in the game by a long way, so it has that going for it as well. But anyway, I think that's enough. I think we'll move on to weapon number 3. So at number 3 we have the riding sword. Now the riding sword is essentially like a one-handed version. So the riding sword is essentially like a one-handed version of the warsword. Also added in U10, it is incredibly nice, very fast, and very good at piercing and slashing. Now let's show off how it fights. So the riding sword has very good maneuverability, allowing it to block extremely well. And because it's small, you can get into the small points really easily. No problem. And if we want to go for the head, no problem either. So, this weapon is incredibly well rounded. The only thing it has against it is its range, but it's actually not got a terrible range for the size of the weapon. Moving on to number 2. So at number 2 we have the rapier. Now this weapon has been in, again, since I played, since U7. I don't remember when it got added, probably since launch to be honest. But this weapon is obviously a thrusting weapon. You wouldn't tend to use it to slash at all. It probably would not do much damage. So, let's see how it performs in combat. So the thing that rapier has going for it is its range. The rapier can thrust away from people's attack range, which really helps. as it just makes using the weapon all that much more easier. See, as you can stay in their attack range to stop them doing jumping attacks, but make sure they're not close enough to you to be able to do any of their attacks. The one thing this weapon doesn't have going for it, like I said, is the slashing. It's pretty bad. It's like tapping someone on the shoulder with a little blade. It's not great. I'll demonstrate how bad the slashing is now. But because of its pierce ability, that's what makes this weapon so great. You can even decide to disable someone to the ground and finish them off with a stab with the rapier. Anyway, I think that's enough for this weapon. Let's move on to what you guys voted as the number 1 weapon. And the number 1 weapon voted in the game was quite a surprise to me, and that's the dagger. Now, the dagger is actually a very impractical weapon, so I think a lot of people like it due to the stealth and the aesthetics of the idea of the weapon, but it really is pretty damn good damage-wise. It's just, you have to be extremely close to enemies to kill them. For an example, with the dagger, if I don't get too close enough, he can attack me way easier than I can attack him. But if you do get close enough, it just demolishes. Now, one of the best features of the dagger is its throw ability. For example, I just disabled his arm completely, using the dagger as a throwing weapon. One great thing to do with daggers is if you decide to have some enemies in a fight and you dual wield daggers, you can really do some good damage. For example, and that's how easy using daggers can be. Anyway guys, I think that does it for our top 5 weapons voted by the community. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and leave a comment. Let me know what weapon's your favourite in the game. Anyway guys, don't forget to subscribe. Really close to 1,000 subs now. Hit that bell and I'll see you later in a bit.